Good afternoon, I'm Kelsey Muckle.
And I'm Caden Charles.
And this is the KES News. What's for lunch?
For lunch tomorrow, we will have chicken and waffles, green beans, carrots, and pears.
Mr. Butcher will now announce the classes that have perfect attendance today.
Here are our classes that had perfect attendance today. In kindergarten, Miss Caldwell. In first grade, Miss Belknap and Miss Lee. In second grade, Miss Chandler. In third grade, Miss Holder. In fourth grade, Miss Ham. Fifth grade, Miss Allen. Also, Miss Graham and Dr. Mays had perfect attendance today. Congratulations to those classes with perfect attendance.
Our mission at KES is to boldly create ready, respectful, and responsible students who will have a positive impact on society.
Mr. Butcher will now share some examples of students being ready, respectful, and responsible.
We say that ready means being in the right place at the right time with the right stuff. These boys in 5th grade are definitely ready in the computer lab. They're in the right place in the computer lab at the right time when they're supposed to be in there with the right stuff, a good positive attitude and a smile. We say that respectful means treating others the way you want to be treated. These students in Miss Ballard's class are being respectful during a test. They're treating others the way they want to be treated, blocking their views so they're not distracting and being quiet as they test. Great job. We say that responsible means doing your job with a smile on your face and giving perfect effort. These 5th graders are definitely being responsible. They're doing their job, the grass drills. They do it with a smile on their face, and they're giving perfect effort. Great job.
One thing I like to do every week is read my favorite comic books. Don't get me wrong, I like to read other books too, but I love reading comic books and seeing what my favorite superheroes are up to. But what about you? Do you like reading comic books? Maybe you like playing video games and you have to read what is on the screen to pass on to the next level. No, maybe you like going on the internet and playing games or talking with people. Well, whether you know it or not, you're reading. But what if you weren't allowed to read? I know that sounds like a silly question, but what if it were against the law for you to read? Well, in American history during slavery, African Americans were not allowed to read. It was against the law for slaves to read, or even have someone teach them how to read. This is where the next person in African American history I want to talk about stood up as a leader and an abolitionist. An abolitionist is someone who wanted slavery to be stopped, and they spoke out against people who used African Americans as slaves. Right now, that person I want to talk to you about is one of the most famous African American abolitionists by the name of Frederick Douglass. Known as the most recognized African-American leader before the Civil War, Frederick Douglass was born a slave. He never knew his father and was separated from his mother earlier in life. This is where as a slave he moved from plantation to plantation until one slave owner's wife helped him learn the basics of reading. Now, like I said before, at that time, teaching slaves to read was against the law, and when her husband found out, he stopped her from teaching Frederick. Although he didn't have a teacher, Frederick was still smart. Frederick wouldn't be stopped in growing and learning how to read. He watched other white children who learned in school and taught himself how to read later. This got him into trouble because he also taught other slaves to read. When his master found out, he would beat Frederick because he did not want other slaves to learn reading like Frederick did. Frederick eventually stood up to the beatings and one day borrowed the papers of a free sailor and escaped to the North. When he arrived in the North, he found other people who were against slavery too. Like I talked about in the beginning, these people were called abolitionists. Frederick was really good at talking and speaking in front of people, and when he told the abolitionists about how he was treated as a slave, Frederick impressed them. Frederick later wrote a biography about his life. The biography told about everything that he went through in life. Many people read Frederick's biography, but this put him in danger, because he was afraid that his master from the South would come to the North and capture him knowing he had escaped. This caused Frederick to escape to Britain. He would return years later once he had made enough money to purchase his freedom. Upon arriving back, Frederick spoke out during the Civil War. When it came to Frederick Douglass, he had respect all the way to the White House. Think about it like this. The president today is Barack Obama. Wouldn't it be cool if you could talk to Obama and he would listen to you? Well, Frederick Douglass had the ear of another famous president who would listen to him. That's right, Frederick Douglass gave advice to President Abraham Lincoln. Frederick convinced Lincoln to give more weapons to African Americans to help fight with the Union soldiers in the Civil War. Now, being a great leader in history, Frederick spoke out against the poor treatment of African Americans in the United States. Many looked at Frederick's life and thought, why didn't he just escape slavery and live out his days in peace as a free man? But that wasn't in the cards for Frederick. This was something that he knew he couldn't do, and was not acceptable to just go out and live a free life while others were being treated poorly. So for standing up and speaking out against slavery and the poor treatment of African Americans, Frederick Douglass will always be one of the greats in African American history.
All right, one of our goals at Kennedy Elementary School is to make sure that everyone is reading on grade level by the end of the year. And the best way to become a better reader is to read. And the best way, if you're a kindergartner, to be able to read better is to know your sight words.
Yeah.
And so our kindergarten teachers have been challenging our students to not only know 50 sight words, but to know 100 sight words, which takes them not all of kindergarten, but more than kindergarten sight words. So we have our first 8 students. There's really only 7 here, but our first 8 students in kindergarten who have done it. It is Benjamin Birdsong. Give me a high five. Okay, it is Brendan Winnington. Give me a high five. It is Riley Tucker. Give me a high five. Braden Johnson, right? Bryson Johnson. Bryson Johnson, give me a high five. Rogelio! Give me a high five. Favor Masson. And Bridget Sorrells back there. Oh, hurt my hand. All right, so these guys have gotten 100 sight words, and you know what? They're not done. They're going to try and get 200 sight words by the end of the year. That's how smart they are. They're going to do that. But before getting their 100 sight words, they're going to get a Tootsie Roll Blow Pop, and because they're doing their job with a smile on their face and giving
Perfect effort.
they're also going to get a Dragon Dollar. I want some more kindergartners up here because if you know your sight words, you know how to read. The more sight words you know, the easier it is to read.
That's all the announcements for today.
Thank you for being a ready, respectful, and responsible student who is focused on graduating in the year.
Because when you are a ready, respectful, and responsible student who is focused on graduation, you are
Fully committed to student success.
It is now time for our car riders to come to the gym.
When you come to the gym, you need to walk on the right side of the hall and be silent.
When you get to the gym, you need to sit at your grade level rows and be silent to hear a car being called.
If you're a bus rider, you need to pay attention to the announcement so you can hear your bus being called.
When your bus is called, please make sure you go straight to your bus.
Please make sure you pay
Attention
so you don't miss your bus.
For sure.